Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Hi, I'm Paige, and yes, I did try to do my makeup inspired by Youngblood because my friend Grace did this really cool look on Instagram, and I thought, hey, I can do that, because I forgot that no, I can't do that. So, long story short, I'm gonna leave a link to her look below and you should look at it and then just pretend I did that, because this is not at all what I hoped for. But hey, let's talk about 5 Seconds of Summer, because I have not had a YouTube channel during a 5 Sauce album cycle ever. So that means that today is a very big day. I have been doing most of my yelling in person to people that do not want to hear it, but today you've chosen to click on this, so if you don't want to hear it, that's your fault. I have been listening to 5 Sauce for a long time now, and I feel like I have so many stories where I'm always like, oh, remind me to tell you the 5 Sauce story, and then I never do. And then now we have this album that, I don't know if you've listened to it yet, but is good. Like, I literally just like a couple hours ago got published on Billboard with my article about 5 Sauce's 10 greatest songs. And it's already wrong. Like, I feel like I did something wrong because 8 of those songs should be from the album Youngblood, because I will not remove Try Hard or Jet Black Heart, and nobody can make me do that. But the other 8, oh my god, I don't even know where to start with this album. It's so good. So if you want to talk about the new music, the past music, stories from when I worked with them, stories from when I went to their shows as a fan, if you want to talk about any of that stuff, then just stick around because, oh, we're gonna cover all of it. So let's start with the 2 singles that came out first. I didn't realize these were the songs that I needed in my life, but I did. I kind of started growing out of pop punk around the time of their last album, so I don't actively seek out more pop punk, but I'll listen to things that give me like a nostalgic feeling. Is that, I don't know. But I was kind of thinking, when 5 Sauce puts out a new album, like where am I gonna be at with that? Am I still gonna enjoy it because it's them, or am I not going to enjoy it because it's pop punk? Where am I at as a person? And then I didn't have to worry about it, because guess what? I guess they had the same feeling and went a totally different way. And I cannot tell you how much I agree with this directional shift. It just like, it feels like such a natural progression as opposed to just like a forced change to be like, oh, we want to fit into this. It's just like, it sounds so natural and it still sounds like them and it's so strong and I just love it. I kind of really like the choice to have the first 2 singles be the first 2 tracks on the album, because that meant that at midnight when I listened for the first time, I had this kind of 5-minute time period to put myself in the right mindset to listen to the rest of the album and get into the vibe of the album without being overwhelmed with new music. It's like, okay, I've heard these songs, so like, let's get where we're going. And then it was just like non-stop screaming from there. And I know a lot of people on the internet are like, oh my god, I'm screaming, but they're not. I want you to know, this is the first time I have had a reaction like this since the first time I listened to the Jonas Brothers album a little bit longer, 10 years ago. Which makes me feel very old. But let's ignore that part of my statement. When that album came out, I remember listening to it. I was at my friend Katie's house and I was sitting on her bed and she had it playing on her computer. And then in the chorus, after the chorus in BB Good, Joe Jonas does this like talking part and says like, I don't want to hurt you, I want to kiss you. And I screamed involuntarily and just rolled myself off the bed, and she was like, are you good? And clearly I was a Joe girl. I don't know if you could tell, but I have that reaction with this album, but not with like specific moments. It's just like every song, all of the time, I catch myself about to scream and being like, no, it's the middle of the night, or there are other people here, or my neighbors are gonna call the cops. And it's crazy. Like, I literally have not had this reaction in 10 years, which means this album is really picking up on something deep within me that I have tried to block away, and that is fine. I am happy with this. I feel like it means I am returning to my roots of enjoying music without having to like censor myself for people thinking it's like too much. I feel like there's this weird thing in the music industry, at least where I've worked, where it's like, hey, we want you to love music so much that you will get like low pay and no benefits and work long hours and do all this just because you love it so much. However, don't like it too much. We don't want you to be like a fan. What if the band thinks you're like a fan? It's like, wouldn't you want to have people that like your music working for you? Like doing stuff because they like you and they know your fan base and they're part of it and so they get it, do you think? But maybe that's just me. But yeah, so I had to be like quiet for a while. Why did I just think of Bella Hadid is quiet? But yeah, now like I'm having feelings again, like some kind of 14-year-old kid. Right, Dennis Reynolds? But yeah, so this is just a really exciting time. This whole album, I just don't know what to say. I don't even know how to tell you my thoughts, because if I was to be like, oh, these are my favorite tracks, I would just be reading you the track listing, so what am I supposed to do here? I think Why Won't You Love Me is a song about me and the Jonas Brothers. Woke Up in Japan is great. More, very great. Better Man, also great. Empty Wallets, maybe that's my favorite. I don't know. Ghost of You, doesn't sound like the Ghost of You I remember, but it's also great. Monster Among Men, it's like, how do I explain it? It's different from the rest of the album. I like it. Meet You There is a Eurotrance track. I am so confused and in love. And then there's Babylon. I literally just looked in the viewfinder and was like, am I having an allergic reaction? Why am I so red? But it's actually just like the color returning to my skin, like I'm alive again. Oh my god, what is happening here? But like, can we just take an extra second to talk about Babylon? Because I had to text one of my friends who's like a Callum stan and be like, hey, good luck. You're gonna suffer. It's so good. But the whole album is so good. So like, I feel bad even like talking about one of the songs, because what? That's not fair to the rest of them. It's perfect. So here is kind of my track record with past Five Sauce. I've always loved everything they've done, but I feel like on some of the releases there's songs where I'm like, yeah, that's alright. Like, it's still good, but there's like standout tracks. Whereas this album is just so strong. Every song is equally perfect. How? But when I was writing this Billboard article, I was doing a lot of research into the songs so that I would have like interesting things to say besides I listened to this song and want to die. So I started doing research into the last album, and I found an interview for Fuse, I think, with John Feldman and some of the engineers, and I was just really surprised by how hands-on the band is in every step of the process, like all of the songwriting, all of the production, like they really have a hand in everything. And just reading about them being like, oh, like there's this children's slide in the backyard, let's record this through the slide so it has this faraway sound. That's the sort of thing that's going to get us somewhere in music. I feel like so often there's like a band that is cool, and then all of these other bands create music where everybody's like, oh, they just sound like cool band. And then there's a new cool band, and then everybody starts to emulate them. And we just have like the original and then a bunch of copies, and then you go to the new original and then a bunch of copies, and it keeps happening. But if you start doing cool things like this and actually like getting that invested, that level of invested into your music, that's how we're gonna start creating something really cool in music again, and maybe actually, I don't know. I just get so bored sometimes, and like stuff like that makes me hopeful that things are gonna get better. That quote, "Carry on, I did. That was an accident." What else can I say about this album? One, I love group harmonies, so there's a lot of that on this album and I appreciate it. Two, I just really love this kind of pop sound that goes back to the 80s, so I'm loving that. And three, this album is perfect, and even if you haven't liked Five Sauce in the past, you should absolutely just give it a chance, see what happens, listen through it once, see if you can't find something you like on there. I bet you can. And if it doesn't work, go listen to Jet Black Heart, because that'll do it, okay? We're not at the end of the video yet, but I would just like to say, what are your thoughts on Youngblood? I would like to talk about it, please, in the comments. Caps lock is encouraged. Tell me what your favorite songs are. Tell me what you think of the album, like 10 out of 10 or 11 out of 10 or higher. What do you think of everything? I don't know, just tell me everything. Let's talk about it. And now I would like to talk about some stories I have, because I always felt weird like posting them on their own. I tried recording them a few times and then just like gave up. So today I'm gonna share some stories with you and then I will let you go. I figure you're here for 5 Sauce anyways, so maybe you care, and if you don't, then that is all the stuff about Youngblood. So thank you for watching and I'll see you again next time. So here's the thing, I just recorded a whole story and then like right at the end I was like, oh wow, I'm actually super boring and terrible and this story sucks and nobody wants to hear it. Ha 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 ha. So I've decided to try and record it in a faster way because if it is terrible, at least then you won't have to be here for so long. So the first time I saw 5 Sauce, I went to see One Direction and they opened for them on the Take Me Home tour and I was like, oh my god, I love this band, they're great. So I went to work the next day. There was a flood. The whole city, like manhole covers were shooting up into the sky. Underground parking was flooded. It was crazy. Power was out everywhere. So when I got home, I couldn't shower because the water and power and everything wasn't working. So I'm wearing I'm having a real dress down day. Hair is back in a gross ponytail, white t-shirt, black jeans, Vans, okay? This is important. It sounds stupid. It's important. So I overhear a coworker mention 5 days of summer and I shoot up and I'm like, did you mean 5 seconds of summer? And like 99% of the people in the conversation were judging me. And then my boss, who was an angel, I loved him, was like, yeah, oh my god, we're going to see them tonight. I think we're signing them. So I go to him afterwards and I'm like, you know, I know a lot about Modest Management and I just saw them so I know their songs, I know each of their names. Maybe I could be of assistance. So he's like, yeah, come with us. And I did not expect that to work because I was an intern, but it did. So I went. And when I got there, nobody else was there yet. So I start to panic because I realize I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Am I supposed to like tell somebody I work here? How do I have proof of that? I don't have like an ID card or a business card. I have no idea what to do. And I look like I should be in line because I'm dressed like a fan. I am a fan. Like they're gonna just like get mad at me and be like, haha, you idiot. Obviously you don't work here, get back in line. So I'm standing directly outside the venue looking nervous and a cop comes up to me because, by the way, the cops are here. And he goes, hey. And I think, I'm gonna get arrested. That's a good clickbait title, right? And I'm like, oh yeah. And he's like, are you good? Do you have to be in line? And I was like, no, I'm an intern. I'm supposed to meet my boss here. He's not here yet. I don't know what to do. And I don't have any proof. I don't have a business card. And he's like, do you have anything? So I pull out this they have these plastic key fob things to just open the doors. But it doesn't say anything from the company on it. It just has a sticker. And apparently that was enough for the Toronto Police Department because he took me into the back door and tried to take me to the band's dressing room. And I was like, hey, don't do that because I will definitely get fired. So the cop just hung out with me in this empty venue talking. I think we had a mutual friend or something weird. It was crazy. So eventually my boss arrives and sees me hanging out with the police and is like, uh-oh. But you know, I wasn't getting arrested and I hadn't done anything bad, so things were fine. We watched the show, it was wonderful. Beside You Acoustic and Live is a life-changing experience that I would die for. And then my boss is like, oh, we're gonna go meet the band and talk to them, let's go. And I'm like, oh, so there's still time for me to embarrass myself. So at the Opera House in Toronto, the dressing room is just a dungeon. It's a terrible tiny little cave underneath the stage. So we went down this rickety little staircase that I almost fell on, which would have been great. Actually, I think it would have been funny. But at the bottom of the stairs are 4 Australian boys who can almost not stand in the room they are in because the roof is so low. So I go to introduce myself to Michael, and I realize that we are both in identical outfits down to the hair color, which is not something that I was hoping for on this day. So I can't say that I was pleased. You know, everybody noticed and everybody's like, ha 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 ha, look at our dumb intern, she looks like him, ha ha ha. And I'm like, oh my god, my anxiety has never been so bad. So I meet everybody and I'm trying to be normal. And then my boss starts asking them about their touring. You've been on the road for so long, how has that been? And they were like, oh yeah, I was gonna do an Australian accent here and I've changed my mind. They were like, you know, we were in Australia and it was winter, and then we went to London and it was winter there, and then now we're here and it's summer. We haven't really had summer in a really long time. And I just looked up and was like, so you've only had 5 seconds? And my coworker just looked and went, don't don't, no. But the whole band was like, oh. So I knew I'd found my people. But you know, little stupid moments like that make you feel like, hey, maybe someday I will find a place where I fit in this industry, even if I feel like I have no idea what's going on. So it was a really nice moment. And then Luke walked away and we're still talking, and then we start hearing this noise. It sounds like a pipe has burst. And we're worried because we're in this tiny dungeon room where it could flood in like 30 seconds and we were just trapped dead, all of us. Big news report. 4 Australians and a bunch of weirdos die in a basement. So we hear this noise. It's just like, and it just keeps going forever. So we're like, okay, something is definitely wrong. And then we all turn at the same time and realize that it's Luke spraying an entire bottle of Axe body spray on himself. An entire bottle. Just like, now I don't know if you have ever been in the vicinity of like a boy's bedroom or a locker room or anywhere where teenage boys tend to be. Axe body spray is not something easy to inhale in any amount, but large amounts of it can actually like make the air thick, like you cannot breathe. So we're in a dungeon with a full bottle of Axe body spray in our noses, and all of a sudden nobody can breathe. We all make eye contact that says, Mayday, Mayday, get out now. And we're all like, well, thank you for having us. It was so nice to meet you. We'll see you guys again next time. Okay, thank you, bye. And we all just like booking up these stairs. Like the stairs could have fallen apart. They were so gross and old. And I would have just fallen through. It would have been fine just to stop breathing that Axe body spray. We all went outside and just stood outside just like heaving, trying to not die. And then the band came out directly behind us. So we're like, oh, actually we're fine now. We're professional adults. And then Michael came up to me and was like, did you notice we're wearing the same outfit? And I'm like, yeah, I noticed, thanks. And I just like got the hell out of there. And that was my great first experience of meeting 5 Seconds of Summer. And so if they ever ask, I will tell them it was the next time. I was gonna tell you some other stories from working with them, but now I just feel like all my stories suck. I don't know how I got into this frame of mind, but like there was a time when I was taking photos and Ashton invited me onto the stage so I could take better photos, and it was just like a really nice, wholesome thing to do. And I got better pictures, kind of. I'm not a very good photographer, so actually they were bad, but better than they were. And my boss got mad that I was up there, because she thought that I was like sneaking around like a creep, and I was like, no, I was invited. And then like fans outside started telling me who they shipped me with, and then somebody took a picture of me and put it online and was like, who is this Gemma Styles looking bitch? And that was crazy. One time Gemma Styles and I talked about that. That was fun. It was just like I don't know, what else happened? There were times when I went to their shows and I drank because I couldn't deal with the fact that my bosses were like, you can't like them. So I was like, ugh. Then there were all of these times when I went to their shows and like refused to go with work because I needed to actually like live the experience. So I'd go with my friends, and for like, I never drink, but whenever I see 5 Sauce, I drink. I drink a lot, and I don't know why. What's the connection? I don't know. Oh, but we went this one time, and my friend and I got seats together, and our other friend got a seat somewhere else, so we squeezed all 3 of us into 2 seats, thinking for some reason that this was a very subtle thing, but everybody was mad, and we were so obnoxious. And looking back, I regret being 21 at any point of my life. And who could forget Trash Takes Tampa, the infamous trip where me and all of my friends from across America flew to Tampa, Florida. We rented the cheapest motel room we could find, which ended up being this 2-story unit with like 4 beds and a fireplace and a kitchen and multiple bathrooms. And it was just like, what is going on in Tampa, Florida? But we got that, and then we went to the venue and just bought the cheapest tickets we could get. And again, we were drinking. I never drink, but there's something about seeing One Direction and 5 Sauce that makes me want to just forget it. But my one friend drank so much that she thought that I was dating Luke Hemmings and kept asking me if my boyfriend had sang yet, and then she disappeared and we couldn't find her for like the last hour of One Direction, and we found her with like a basket full of taquitos, and I don't even think they were serving taquitos, so I don't know what happened. But that was a trip, and that was a trip. But yeah, now I feel like I've talked myself into an exhaustion. Maybe it's because I've been listening to this album on repeat and that's put me in a very like emotionally vulnerable place. But also I just feel like talking about all of this is taking me back to the days when I worked in a very toxic work environment. And so like I want to forget that. So I am going to end the video here before I send myself into a panic attack, a mental breakdown, or a nap. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this mess, and I'm very sorry about my makeup, and I'm sorry about me talking about a bunch of things that don't matter, and I'm just really sorry if this turned you off of the album because now you're like, oh, I'm associating it with this crazy person. But it's a really good album. You should totally check it out. And also you should listen to Try Hard and make them put it back on the set list. I am campaigning for this. I will set up a GoFundMe and like a campaign page. I don't know. I'll do what I have to do. But in any case, tell me what you think of the Youngblood below. Tell me your own 5 Sauce stories. I just would really like to talk about 5 Sauce while I'm still in this excited phase, and I'm allowed to be, and it's so nice. So please talk to me about these things below, or tweet me, or find me on Instagram, or do whatever you want. And hey, my web store Camp Unlost is gonna have 5 Sauce vinyl next week, so you can find that link below too. And I literally feel like exhausted. I am so sorry, but I think I'm dying. But thank you so much for watching. If you liked this, give it a like, and if you're new here and you don't hate me by now, you can totally subscribe if you feel like it. I have a little bit of a vinyl giveaway coming at 10K, so if you want to help me get there, that'd be really cool. And yeah, I think that's it. Is that really it? I feel like really there's just too much, but anyways, I will see you guys next time if you choose to come back. Bye.